So I'm going to demonstrate how the current commit to the GitHub repository for UPHP tubes encoder. What happens is when you upload a file, it makes it all the way up to the server regardless of how much memory you have. It's only when it has to create a temp file does it run out of memory. The temp file is just a copy of the uploaded file. Let me demonstrate. First I'll show how much memory there is. I have about 2 gigabytes of memory on this virtual machine, and I will go to my UPHP tube encoder, which does have both the encoder and the streamer are on the same server. However, the two directories that deal with those files are separate. So Video's encoder cannot see what's in Video's streamer until there's a transfer process, just like there should be. Depending, it doesn't matter if it's on two separate servers or not, because the folders are separate from each other. But that's not even really the issue. So let me go into Video's encoder. There's nothing in there. It's a fresh installation, and I will watch this folder. And a file which is certainly going to trip it up is this 800 megabyte file. Well, actually, that might make it, so we'll do this 2 gigabyte file. And I'll just go in here, and it says the file size is 2,374 some million bytes, and I'm going to drag it into the encoder. And as we're watching the folder, nothing happens yet. The file is being transferred to the server somewhere. I don't know where it's going. I haven't inspected the code to that point yet. But as soon as this circle completes, the watch over here, the folder should change. And you see this file getting bigger and bigger. The original Marian Jazz file and then it gets stuck because it runs out of memory. But you can see 2,374,000,000 bytes is actually the complete file size. The file did make it, but the file failed. And I'll just show you, as you probably would already know. It says out of memory. But all it really does do, let's try this again with a smaller file. First we have to dump the other one. We'll get rid of that. And we'll watch the directory again. And we'll do a file we know should work because it's a small file. I'll try something like that. Smaller. How big is that file? 57 megabytes. So that it comes up 57 megabytes, and then it produces this temp file, which is the same size. But if you think about it, that temp file doesn't really need to be a file at all. It could be a symlink because they're identical. And that's what my my so-called improvement was going to do. After this temp file is made, then that link or that file name is referenced in another part of the program to begin the actual encoding process. But those two files are equivalent, they're identical. They have the same file size and everything about them is the same. So my solution was to, as soon as that file comes in, after you can see it streaming in and then it finally finishes, to make the rest of the program work, I would create a symlink which just simply references to that long file name, to that shorter temp file name, and then once that is in there, the program knows what to do with it and somehow continues with the encoding process to make the encoding format that's developed for the streamer. And then once that's done, then it uploads it to the server. In this case, it uploads it to the server using the same protocol. It's not doing a file. It's not doing a file copy or anything like that. It's transferring it through the web just as it normally would. It just happens to be that it's on the same server. So the file always makes it in, unless there's not enough room for it. It's only the fact that the file, when it does come in, is of a different file name than what the program expects for it to begin coding with it. I hope that makes sense. I'm not an expert on how the program works, but the file does come in. It just needs a new file name reference for it.